Hello to all of our essential early care and education professionals that were able to join us today. I know that many of you are short-staffed right now, and this is probably, some really precious time for you. So we appreciate you spending it with us and hope you find it useful and something that you can actually use, perhaps to help with some of the short staffing issues. I do like to just spend a quick moment reminding everybody to go to our website, nationalchildcare.org. You will find opportunities there and on our social media posts, because we're on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn, we're on Instagram. I'm sure I'm leaving something out. Diane helps us with this, but there are many opportunities for you to very easily let your U.S. representatives and senators know how you feel about the budget the opportunities for childcare in the budget. Right now, there's $450 billion on the table, which is a massive amount of money. 225 designated to support childcare, and 225 designated to support universal pre-K in states. So I would ask you to go to our website and learn more about those if you are not in the know at this time. And then also look at the opportunities to speak out using just the click function that is there to help you email your individual U.S. legislators. There's nothing like a lot of people contacting their individual representatives and senators. They need to hear from their constituents. So if we want some funding to help us, please go to nationalchildcare.org. You can also email us or call us. Those numbers are, and that information is posted on the website. Well, let's get on with our webinar topic today. I'm very happy to introduce to you our guest presenters today. First of all, we have Dr. Nermeen Dashoush, and then we have Alexandra Post-Miller, and they are two of the outstanding individuals that are behind an award-winning educational technology and media company for children ages 3 to 7. This company is known as MarcoPolo Learning. Dr. Dashoush is their Chief Curriculum Officer, and Ms. Miller is their Director of Research and Innovation, and they have backgrounds in early childhood. And they will be talking to you about how to use technology as a helping hand in the classroom. And I think we can all agree we need a helping hand. And it also extends to being able to incorporate parents into what their child is learning at preschool. So I am, without further ado, going to turn this over to our outstanding guest speakers today from MarcoPolo Learning. Thank you.
Thank you, Sydney, and thank you everybody for joining us, and thank you so much for this time. We know that this time is limited, like Sydney said, and so when we were planning this presentation, we said, what could we talk about that, right, even after this hour with us, you have some tools in your hands or tools to pass on to educators or working with children in the classroom right now. So we aim to keep things really practical, very simple, and that's kind of the frame around what we're doing today. How do we leverage technology as an additional helping hand and not some extra thing to learn and do at a time where it's just you cannot take on one more thing. So I'll introduce ourselves a little bit. Can you go to the next slide? And my name is, as Sydney introduced, my name is Dr. Nermeen Dashoush. I'm the Chief Curriculum Officer at MarcoPolo. Most importantly, I was a classroom educator for 10 years. So I understand what it's like being with children every day, in and out, and kind of the needs that we have in the classroom. Currently, I'm also a professor of early childhood education at Boston University, where I work with pre-service and in-service educators and prepare them in the field. And I teach technology, educational technology, child development, and a lot of the work I do at Boston University, the research and the theory that we're doing there is implemented here at Marco Polo. So I'll turn it over to Alex to introduce herself.
Awesome. Thanks, Nermeen. And again, thank you everybody for joining us today and for having us. As Nermeen said, my name is Alex. I am our Director of Research and Innovation at Marco Polo Learning. Like Nermeen, the most important thing about my background is I was an early childhood educator myself and a classroom teacher. I have my master's in curriculum design and teaching, as well as in educational technology. And I come from a background, besides for education, in marketing and research. And my role here at Marco Polo is really to ensure that everything we do, including these conversations, as Nermeen mentioned, and these great opportunities to talk to you guys, is that we have our pulse on what's happening in the field, that we're talking to educators, we're talking to partners, we're talking to families, and we're understanding the current needs of everybody surrounding children who are at the core of everything we do. Back to you, Nermeen.
So as I said before, we're first and foremost educators. So some of the examples we're going to give you today is we are going to give you examples from Marco Polo Learning and World School, but everything we're about to share around the use of technology is very much applicable with other tools as well. So I want you to, we're kind of giving a big framework and giving examples through our product, but in many ways, you can leverage technology in various ways. We're just showing you how we do with Marco Polo. And at Marco Polo, we take a kind of a positive strength-based approach to children learning. When we started the company about 8 years ago, we asked ourselves not just, how do we close the gap, or, we didn't take a deficit perspective on children learn. We asked ourselves, what do all children have in common that is kind of undeniable and research-based? And we said they're very, very curious. They ask a lot of questions and they want to explore the world around them. And how can we leverage technology to do that? And that's what we set out to do. If you go to the next slide, we always center the child in everything that we're doing. And we're going to show you some examples from how we kind of implemented that, with the child being in the center and everything around the child. When we build a technology solution, how do we support the teacher? How do we support the families? How do we contextualize learning so that the child is actually able to take whatever they're doing on the screen and transfer it outside? So everything is really thoughtful and very intentional. And we created it also with the ease and of hopefully making the lives of educators who are using it much easier in the classroom, being able to transform learning in ways that wouldn't be possible without technology. And that being said, sometimes when we think of technology or screen-based learning, we have this image of a child kind of sitting in front of a screen, not really interacting with it. When we designed Marco Polo products, and especially World School, we asked ourselves, what does the research say out there? In many ways, we looked at the EEE framework that looked at technology and asked if they can do 3 things with the learning goals: engage the child, but not just making it exciting, where it's like, oh, I'm so excited, I'm popping bubbles on the screen, or I'm coloring something in, but I'm not actually learning anything, but engaging with connection to the learning goals. Can technology enhance learning goals? Can it scaffold for the child? Can it take their thinking to the next level? And can it extend the learning goals, extend it outside of the digital experience and even outside the school walls? And with that, for today's presentation, we want to focus on 3 issues that we have seen very common in schools today. We're hearing from a lot of our educators. Alex is always engaged in research with educators, and are sharing out, and we're hearing this 3 kind of things that seem to be a pattern, even actually before the pandemic as well. So how can we use technology to support the educators in these 3 components? 1, the support of social emotional learning of young children. Sometimes we think of digital learning and we think of a social emotional learning as 2 separate things, right? But children respond really well to actually seeing something that might be so abstract that technology can actually make concrete or give them access to seeing it in a way they haven't before. It takes that kind of right material to do that, that right resource. The second thing we're going to emphasize today is differentiated instruction for diverse learners, especially with kind of a shortage of staff. That level of scaffolding and meeting diverse needs becomes harder and harder to do. Can technology actually be a helping aid for differentiated instruction? And then engaging families, engaging children inside the school. So they're really excited to come back into the school building, even if their attendance is kind of going in and out for various reasons around this time. But how do we actually also engage families outside of the school? How do we provide them with really low lift activities so they can feel like they're tapped into their child's learning? So with that, we're going to show you the examples that we're talking about, focused on those three components from MarcoPolo World School. The first one is, if you remember, social emotional learning. Social emotional learning, to me, when I was a classroom educator, was kind of about around modeling things, giving children tools. And I always used to seek out like a perfect read aloud to emphasize some things that I'm doing, right? Like if I were teaching children about ways that they communicate their feelings, I was kind of looking at that perfect read aloud because children want to see it played out. We took the same approach when we were designing our social emotional learning videos. How can we use like social scripting and modeling to have children do two things? Be able to put words behind their emotions. So right now you have children in the classroom, especially young children at any age, or actually are still trying to identify what those emotions are. How can you actually manage something if you don't know the word for it, if you don't know what it is that you're experiencing, if you don't understand that you're experiencing anger or frustration, or how could you cultivate something if you don't know kind of what to put your finger on? We have videos on empathy, flexible thinking. All of these videos were written with teachers in mind. So in terms of, or with teachers actually on the team. So our first approach was saying, okay, how do we identify, give a child a feeling? So technology can help do that in the classroom for teachers who are looking for that perfect resource to infuse something that was part of a conversation, but want to give children, especially children who respond more to kind of things that are digital, more image-based for them. And so I'll show you one of them that we put together that was focused on, one, identifying an emotion, and two, giving children a specific tool to use. We'll watch our first video called Frustration.
Frustration.
Is everything okay, Lily? You seem a little frustrated.
What does frustrated mean?
Frustration is the feeling of being upset when we can't do something.
That's exactly how I feel every time my castle falls down.
Stop for a moment, Lily. We all get frustrated when we try something, and no matter how often and how hard we try, we can't seem to do it.
Yeah, and getting frustrated probably doesn't help, even if it's how we feel inside.
Uh-huh. When you feel frustrated, remember the 2 B's. Break and believe.
Ah, so before you try again, you just need to take a break from whatever is making you feel frustrated.
Once you're calm, imagine calmly doing whatever was frustrating you before. Believe in yourself.
Slowly. I did it!
Yeah!
Yay! I think I need to take a quick break before I try again.
So a child who might be experiencing frustration, telling them it's okay, calm down, try again, might not be the way to connect to them. They might want to see what that plays out. Children are really good at looking at it at like other scenarios playing out and kind of separating it from themselves at first so they could see something play out and then take it back and apply it to themselves. This is also a tool that break and believe could actually be a tool that the teacher didn't know. So like a little, B and B, okay. So we see actually these resources actually inform teacher professional like development, because it gives them tools designed by other early childhood educators that they're using in the classroom. One such tool was like breathing mechanism. I've observed a lot of teachers in my career telling children to actually breathe. Okay, take a deep breath, breathe, take a deep breath. But there's very few teachers I've actually worked with that actually give them breathing tools and mechanisms. So with social emotional learning, how can we leverage technology to actually give them these examples and show them a tool, right? Show them something that if a child is actually having a hard time, they see it in front of them, they see it play out, and then they can utilize it outside of the screen experience. So I will show you our video called Breathing. You'll notice that all of our videos, and this is kind of something to look for in technology as well. When we started off this presentation, we asked, when you're thinking of digital learning, are children just sitting in front of a screen? So if not MarcoPolo World School, other technology you might be looking for, is a child asked to sit in front of the screen for a very, very long period of time? Or is it just like a read aloud where it's something to trigger conversation, something to enhance learning, but it kind of moves outside the digital world. Our goal here was to give them something, but then move them off of the screen. So we made all of our videos around 1 or 2 minutes. Let's take a look at how we—
Breathing. First just and then it was
What's wrong, Lily?
I'm having a really rough day. I'm just
Maybe you just need a moment to calm down. Breathing can help with that.
But I'm already breathing.
Yes, you are breathing. But there's a certain way to breathe which will help you feel calm.
Can you teach me?
Sure. Hold up one finger and pretend it's a flower. Breathe in and smell the flower. Now imagine your finger is a candle. Now a big breath out and blow out the candle. Let's try that again. Smell the flower. Blow out the candle. Smell the flower. Blow out the candle. How do you feel now, Lily?
The flower and candle breathing really worked. I feel calmer. I think this day is going to be great after all.
Would love to see if you feel like this is something that could be used in your classroom, or a breathing tool that you actually already use in the classroom, but a child could benefit from that imagery. You could, of course, as I'm talking, please feel free to add comments or questions in the chat. So that was kind of how do we leverage technology to reinforce and teach social emotional learning. For some children and educators looking for resources right now, we want to move beyond making up lessons, looking for that perfect read aloud. A digital tool can make the difference. Our second component was around differentiated learning, differentiated instruction. With limited time, limited resources, it also becomes very difficult to meet diverse needs. And I'll kind of put diverse under a big umbrella here: diverse learning needs, children with multiple linguistic needs, different interests as well, being that they might want to engage them or they might know a lot about it. So for a class that's learning about like buildings in the block area, you might have that child that's, asking about how animals make their own home, right? They want to take their building to the next level. So what we created was, if you want to take children's thinking to the next level or reinforce something, how can technology help you do that without looking everywhere for developmentally appropriate content? So an example of this would be, and Alex, we might not want to watch the entire video, just maybe in the beginning, a class that's studying like buildings and looking at buildings even in the block area, and you want to show them something about like animal structures because they're asking about like animal homes. So let's take a little bit because of a look at our beaver video, and then I'll show you the ways that we can differentiate instruction.
Beaver. Beavers are found in Europe, Asia, and North America. Wow! A wooden wall in the middle of the river? Who made that?
Beavers, Gorby. They build dams to trap water, which blocks the flow so they can easily float food and supplies to their home.
How did they get the wood into pieces?
They have very sharp teeth to gnaw tree trunks to the right size.
Doesn't that wear their teeth down?
Beavers are rodents. Their teeth grow back again and again and again, so they never wear down.
That's a little snippet of our beaver video, right? You're already engaging, kind of pulling children in, but what about for learners that might need something different? So technology can help you differentiate if it's itself set up for differentiation. So when we created these videos, we created variations of these videos. So a teacher doesn't have to do that heavy lifting. The technology does the heavy lifting for her. Each of our videos comes with something called a modified video, which we take the same idea, the same learning objective, and we slow it down and simplify the language. So for a teacher who wants to really engage a child, but they might not have the same linguistic ability to engage in, for various reasons, cognitive development, there might be an English language learner, but only have like limited vocabulary. We created the modified version, allowing for that level of differentiation. So let's listen about 10 seconds of that to see what that sounds like.
I also wanted to add too, Nermeen, I think it's also super important when we talk about these modified videos that we're giving children of differing abilities the same access to this amazing content, right? What's so important about differentiating instruction is not that we give them something different, but that we scaffold it and differentiate it, which you'll see by providing them this type of video as well. So just wanted to add to everything you've been saying.
Of course.
Beaver.
Beavers live in Europe, Asia, and North America.
Wow! A wooden wall in a river. What is it?
And of course, we have different children who speak different languages, English language learners in mind, and technology can also help you do that. Picking a high quality tool for young children that is available in multiple languages can help you to connect in ways that they're kind of unmanageable without it. It could be that the teacher doesn't even have access to a shared language that the child is speaking, but wants to communicate something, wants to engage them in that curriculum. I remember I always share that I was an English language learner and I was super curious in the classroom, but I had no idea what they were talking about. And I didn't have access to that same content. And so I was doing like things around like in, on, cat, bat. And I was like, I wasn't really super interested in that. But this is a tool where technology could allow you to engage and differentiate for English language learners. So in this example, we have all of our content also available in Spanish as well. So let's watch 10 seconds of it in Spanish.
Castor.
Los castores se encuentran en Europa, Asia y Norteamérica.
Wow! Un muro de madera en medio del río.
Can you imagine for a child who's sitting there and they want to know exactly what it doesn't even have to be that you showed the original video to the class. It could be that you were learning about beavers or animals in the class and there's a child who speaks Spanish off to, there and they don't know what you're talking about. And then you show the video to that specific child so you can give them that information that you're communicating in English off the screen to young children. So here is technology kind of doing that translation for you, doing that modification for you, allowing children different access points into the same learning objectives, but differentiating it with just a tool. We also wanted to support educators as well in doing this. We know that educators are busy, but also have various needs in terms of their ability to differentiate learning or guide instruction using tools. So all of our videos come with Educator Guides, which helps educators identify key learning objectives, key words that they can emphasize. And if we go down, we can see discussion questions, right? Just as I compare this to read alouds, We don't want teachers to put on a video and then walk away. We want to make sure that they have the tools that they need and the ideas that we can provide them as fellow educators, and what kind of questions should they be asking before, during, and after the videos. What kind of activities can I set up in the classroom, right? So here's technology kind of giving them a kind of one-stop shop of like, you can show this video, you could ask this questions, you could show it in various languages and various speeds, and here's some activities that you can do as well. And at the end of this, we also always have ideas for family engagement. I'm going to turn it over to Alex, though, because while this is kind of a low tech, like a paragraph that you can copy and paste, we have reimagined what family engagement looks like, and that communication outside of the school walls. Even now, we imagined it originally as communication to families, but what we're seeing is also with children being absent, being asked to stay home if they have symptoms, with centers closing here and there, how do we keep the dialogue going or fill in that child who might not be there? So I'll turn it over to Alex to show how technology can help do that.
Thanks so much, Nermeen. Yeah, and so in this PDF here, these educator guides that we have for every single one of our thousands of video adventures, we are also thinking about how we can take this paragraph out and make it a digital piece that you can, with the click of a button, send to families so they know what was happening in school, as well as have some key things that they can do on the go. So if they check in at the end of the day with their child using an app and a communication tool, it may pop up saying, today we watched a video about a beaver, and here's something that you can go for a wood hunt around your home and find many wooden things, as many wooden things as you can around your home, or as you walk to your car from pickup. So things that families can do without needing to run to Staples, and things that educators can do with just the click of a button. So that's one way. But one of the other things that we like to think about in terms of how this product is used is these features over here. As you can see, the platform itself is really super easy to look at and use, just searching through and adding things here. But when we were designing it, we were thinking about not only how we can differentiate for our students and the children in our classroom, but how can we differentiate for educators and make this platform really easy to connect with the entire class, with individual children as well. So when we were thinking about this, we weren't really thinking about it in the context of, COVID, chronic absenteeism, but then we started hearing from educators, right? And knowing that these are the core issues that we're facing right now. And so we've kind of rethought how we can leverage these features and functionalities to really help during this super difficult time. So these features over here, we have our playlist feature, our share home feature. And what this allows educators to do is create playlists that they can customize based on what they're learning in that unit, and have all of that content organized for them to share to the children in their class. So I like to use the example of the 5 senses. When I taught preschool, that was something that I like to do in the beginning of the year. It set a great foundation for how we think about and discover the world around us. And so if we're thinking about the idea of the 5 senses, an educator might create a playlist all about the 5 senses. And they may start with, just for one day of the week, or all the 5 senses at once, and they can create a playlist here. And they may search for the 5 senses and see that in addition to having the senses here, like the eye and taste and smell, there's a whole host of other videos that they could look at to explore to see how they might engage in teaching the 5 senses. So for example, this video here, the great white shark, introduces the idea about how the great white shark uses its senses to be a really great predator. So you might want to save this video to talk about the 5 senses in a super engaging and interesting way. And what may happen is, let's say you wanted to talk about the 5 senses on Monday, introduce that concept, and you had a child that was absent. And let's call that child Dylan. And maybe Dylan was absent for, COVID exposure reasons, or he was sick and out of school that day, and you wanted to be able to engage Dylan with that content, you could create a share home playlist just for Dylan with that great white shark video that you showed with the whole class. Or if you didn't share a video, but you know Dylan has a dog, and every day in school Dylan comes in talking about his dog and how much he loves his dog, and you know that we have a dog senses video, you could create a playlist just for Dylan that connects what he may have missed in the classroom that day in school with what we know he's super interested in learning about, which is obviously his dog. And one of the best features of this is the ability to create a personalized video message, which we see as being super flexible for educators to use in different areas of the classroom and in different ways. So in this purpose, we're showing how you can personalize it and send it home for one child. But again, if you have a center that may be shut down due to an educator who had COVID exposure, this is something that this is a feature you can use for educators to record videos and send to entire classes, or for your director to create a video that you can share with the sub who's coming in to take the place of the educator who's out sick, etc. You know, we always say if the number one thing we could do as educators is replicate ourselves and put us in every area of the classroom. This in a way allows you to do that, allows you to be in the classroom, be engaging children at home. So I can create this personalized video just for Dylan, and I have up to 3 minutes of instruction here in this recorded time. So I may say, hey Dylan, Miss Alex here. Today in class, we learned all about how we use our senses, our 5 senses. We use our eyes to see, our nose to smell, our hands to touch, our mouth to taste, and our ears to hear. And in this video, I wanted to share with you that's all about how dogs use their senses. And I know how much you love dogs, so I hope you enjoy this video all about how dogs use their senses. And this allows you to really personalize that learning, incorporate that instruction that Dylan may have missed. You can expand on it. You can do a read aloud during that instruction as well to really bring him into the learning that he had missed. And then here with this button, you can, as I said before, you can select all and send to your entire class list, or just send to Dylan. And when you do that, this class trip, as we like to call it, gets sent automatically to Dylan's device or his family's device at home. How this works is when you sign up, all of your students, all of the children in your class are pre-populated here. And so families will get a notification to join MarcoPolo School Edition, which is the name of the app that's connected to this platform. And so when you do that, Dylan's family member will get an email and a text message notification. And again, linking to what Nermeen was talking about before, those messages come in Spanish as well for families. We differentiate instruction for children and for our families. We know families are children's first first educators as well. And the families will get a link to watch this class trip with their child, or hand it over to the child to watch themselves. Plus, they get 2 open-ended questions to ask their child after they engage in the video, again, to enhance and extend that learning. So the child's engaged and their experience is being enhanced and their learning is being extended, as well as an interesting fact, because our whole goal is really to get kids to want to learn more. So now I'm going to share with you what it looks like when Dylan gets.
While you pull that out, I just want to add on, kind of revisiting our original topic, like how can technology make this easier? Here, you're looking for tools that kind of do the work for you. Tools that, instead of me writing on email describing every single thing that's happening that the child missed, the technology actually allows me to share the content that's already been created for me. Instead of me translating content, the technology already has it translated for me. So letters to parents are already there, available in Spanish. Share home questions are already available. And honestly, to me, I think just that connection of seeing my teacher's face, especially if I've been absent, or for parents who actually are not allowed in centers now, or teachers have a mask on, they don't get to see their child's face. So this is technology allowing parents and children to do something that without the technology wouldn't be possible. So what Alex is pulling up now is what the what the child is seeing on their end. So something to also look for in technology is what does it look like from a child's perspective, or is it only just kind of adults communicating to adults? So you want to be able to think about, again, that ecosystem with the child in the center and how these tools are being communicated with the child also being part of that conversation. Alex, you need your, oh, it turned off. All right, so Alex will pull up our child-facing app, MarcoPolo World School, and she will show again where that video that she recorded and what would look like from the child's end.
Right, so when Dylan gets home, or when Dylan is home and the educator sends that message and Dylan's family gets that notification, they'll come over and log into MarcoPolo School Edition, the child-facing app experience that's connected to that educator platform. And there they'll see at the top, right when they log in, is that video message, that personalized message from their educator that's connecting them to what they were missing in class that day. It looks like it's taking a minute or two to load here. So I'm just going to give that a second, and I'm going to share back my screen so we can go through those three things that we covered right now while this loads. So as we talked about today, how technology can support educators during this time when we need it most, we talked about our social and emotional development of children. We know that, like Nermeen said, social emotional learning has always been important, but now more than ever. And we are one of the only companies out there that has both science topics and all of these really interest-driven topics that we know children want to learn about, like that dog senses video, as well as a social emotional library to really support educators and making sure children feel supported during this time and have the tools that they need to manage those emotions and really apply it into the classroom right away. We also talked about how we differentiate instructions to meet the needs of diverse learners, whether it's that they're developmentally delayed, whether it's that they speak another language and they're learning English and their home language at the same time, or whether we have children who might be ready to read. Those modified videos allow you to support children with that closed caption available there if they are ready to read as well. And then, as we talked about before, engaging children and families outside of the school walls. And so with that, I will show you what it looks like now that we're loaded here for Dylan at home to really feel connected to the learning experiences, even if he cannot be in school. So when Dylan goes in, there is his educator right there waving at him. And we all know how meaningful it is and how exciting it is even to see your educator at the grocery store. So how fantastic would it be for that child who may have missed school, missed their day? We know how important routine is for them to still be able to see their educator and experience that learning that they may have missed out because they were not able to make it into the school day. And also how important for educators, for families, right? That they see that their educator is thinking about the child that missed school and is trying to connect with them and continue to engage with them. It really shows families how much we as educators really care about the children in our class. And so after hearing that message from their educator, they will then be able to watch that dog senses video that we were so excited to share as well. So that is everything we have for you guys today. I know that we are basically right at time, so wanted to leave a minute to answer some questions live if possible.
Anybody has questions, go right ahead and unmute yourself. And if you've sent any in, unfortunately, technology is really funny, especially when Mercury's in retrograde. So if you did send in any questions via chat, I'm sorry, but if you just unmute yourself and ask one of our presenters, Sharon Griffith, it looks like you have a question or maybe a high five.
Yeah, a question really regarding the availability of MarcoPolo and how how we can get the resource? If you can answer that.
Yeah, for sure. If you go to marcopololearning.com or you email hello@marcopololearning.com here below, you can inquire and we can get you a personal demo if you would like to see it, and give you that information as well on how to get access to this resource. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any other questions? Yeah, and thank you, Nermeen. She just put the link in chat for everybody.
I had a question. I was wondering if it works for infant classes as well, if it was just for the older children, or do you have something for infants as well?
So this was designed for 3 to 6. We haven't seen, again, we do a lot of like research-based stuff, and we haven't seen the need for this type of resources for that infant classroom. Can it be used for engagement? So for example, if it's purchased for like the older toddlers, the preschool classroom, but it's also could be available for that school, it could give access for that infant classroom for a teacher to use it when she feels the need that comes up. So that's what we're seeing. Some centers purchase it primarily for that preschool, the 3s, the 4s, the 5s, but it's also available in the school for everybody. But we haven't designed it for that infant classroom, and we don't see the research supporting the continuous need of it as well. Thank you for that question, Jazz. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
I saw a question come up about device compatibility. The MarcoPolo for Educators platform that you saw that has all those educator resources, that is available on desktop, laptop, tablet, any browser. The app for children is compatible with all devices.
That was really important as well, because we wanted to make sure that whatever device families have at home, they could be Android users, they could be opening it on an iPad. Same thing for schools. We don't know how it's going to be used in schools and what type of devices, so we made it as flexible as possible.
Well, I don't have a question, but I do just have a couple of thoughts I always like to share after I sit through a presentation. First of all, the example of smell the flower and blow out the candle spoke to me. I use that still personally, and because there are a lot of times I need to smell a flower and blow out a candle. And again, I think it demonstrates in a very simple way that some of the things that as teachers that we do or have done can be done another way. And I know, as somebody that's 66 and might be thought of as old school, and I myself could surely afford to learn a few more technical skills. I think we learned from COVID that technology does have a place and a need in younger classrooms. And it was something that everybody struggled with because we weren't really prepared. And I think that the things that you shared with us today really are doable. And I want to thank you for bringing it to us and showing us, as an industry that we have an opportunity to really help ourselves utilizing something like MarcoPolo, when it could be that teacher shortages may, last a long time, but also too, just to address the different learning styles that children have in classrooms, and also to make that connection with the parents. And the parents are younger and, very technology driven. So thank you. I think it's a great product. And you, again, you also taught us how it could help us, and that's really important.
Thank you so much, Sydney. Thank you for having us here today. And we look forward to kind of, we're using consciousness as students, but yeah, so and that's actually part of our partnerships as well. We help, we created something that was flexible. So whatever you're using, it doesn't substitute, it doesn't replace it. It just goes along with it. And so, and for larger partners, we also help them make the alignment as well. So some of our schools, they give us their curriculum and we help make that alignment for them. So their teachers are not wondering which videos would best complement this. I'm just commenting on something that I saw in the chat.
Yeah, we can do custom alignments, yep, to anything that you guys are using, whether it's state standards, milestones, curriculum. We're able to align and help your educators know what videos to watch. And we actually wanted to announce, we did select a winner for our raffle, our giveaway. And that is Tanya Mitchell. So congratulations, Tanya Mitchell. We will connect with you, or Storm from NCCA will connect with you about the raffle. So congratulations, and thank you all for joining and participating again. If you have more questions about Marco Polo, if you would like to get a quote, know the price point, or request a demo, please visit marcopololearning.com. All you really need to do is click a button, send us, just type in your email address and your information, and we will contact you about all of that. So we really appreciate your time.
And Tanya,
right.
Congratulations. Tanya, if you don't mind just messaging Alexandra directly, that way we can just make it happen. So Tanya, if you're still on here, can you just make a comment here that you got that so that we can be sure that you are here and able to get with Alexandra on how your email or your address. You can just chat with her. And with that, Cindy, Storm, anything else?
No, we might give you back 5 minutes of your day. I do want to remind you to please take the time to do your part as far as participating in your future in childcare by going to nationalchildcare.org, clicking on advocacy, and then click on tell your representatives that now is the time to solve childcare, and it will put you to a link that you can easily click on and fill in where you're from and your zip code, and it will put you directly in with your particular legislators, because now is the time. They are working hard to get a budget approved, and childcare has the chance of a lifetime here to move forward with some meaningful funding to help educators hopefully earn more salary and get closer to what they're worth because they're so far away from it, and to offer those of you that own childcare centers to, you know, add more tools and resources for your programs. So thank you all so much, and we'll see you next month.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.